Okay, hello and welcome back to Automotive Tales. On today's video, we're with our friends at Commercial Vehicle Products, and we're going to be working on, well, a number of cars actually, but first things first, we're working on a Volvo. Surprise, surprise. Okay, so the car in question is second generation V70, which is sticking up as a rescue car, but it's actually ex-police car, so we think either Gloucestershire or West Mercia car. We're still trying to find that out, but it needs a few bits to put it back on the road. Plenty of advisories on the last MOT, so we're going to have a crack on at those and see if we can get it up and running. Before we get on with the Volvo, we've got to put a Dodge Charger back together. Not the sort of thing you see every day. So wheel arch back in, wheel back on, and then we can use the yard space to do the V70. To a Dodge Charger start. So we are inside the V70 T5, full Justice spec. You can see here it's obviously had some sort of control panel in the centre console, and it's cheap old fabric seats. Nothing fancy in here for the boys in blue. So we've just put a battery on it, so let's see if this thing will start, shall we? I'll be amazed, but you never know. Oh, look at that. Service required. No shit. And we need to put some coolant in. Right, let's go. So the car started and moved after a bang as the handbrake came free. We've a lot of jobs to do. As you can see, we've got a boost hose here that doesn't appear to be doing much holding boost. It looks quite oily, so I suggest there's an issue there. We know the drive shafts need doing and the top mounts up here need doing, so we've got a new set of those. We are absolutely going to need some coolant. That looks bone dry. So we're going to get on with those jobs first, but to do that we've got to get the car in the air. So this is what we are up against. You can see that the driveshaft gaiter is completely shot. We looked at whether we can actually replace the gaiter like we did on the 850, but it was so cheap just to get a set of new shafts that we decided we just put new shafts on. So first job is to undo the hub nut here right in the centre. Now unlike the 850, which is a massive 32 I think it is, or 36 mil nut, this is just a 13, so we'll whip that off, try and get all this apart, see if we can get the drive shafts out. In the meantime, Chris is busy whipping the headlights out, because at some point it's been fitted with HIDs, which are no longer legal for the MOT, so they've got to go. So, time-lapse time. So we've got this far, we've got the hub disconnected, we've got the nut out from the front of the drive shaft here, and we need to take the strut out first. As you can see, we've got the drop link here soaked in penetrating fluid. Unfortunately, my arch nemesis, the drop link, has come back to bite me. So the Allen key that's in here was stuffed full of crap. I tried cleaning it out, but it's rounded. I hate these types of fittings. The ones that got a flat on the behind are much easier because you can put a spanner in there, impact gun on there, and they come off in no time at all. So it looks like we're probably going to need new drop links, because I'm resorting to my favourite tool, the angle grinder. We're just going to cut the drop link off and go get some new ones, because it's a damn sight easier. We've also noticed we've got some perishing on the brake lines here, so that's another job we need to do. Not entirely sure what's going on with this upstand off the caliper here. This is a bit unusual, but we'll see what the new parts bring. Maybe some new bleed nipples as well, because the corrosion on there is quite intense. Right, so time for the angle grinder, and hopefully then we can get this strut tower out and at least start on the top mounts, and then pop the drive shafts out and get those swapped over, and at least get the majority of this back together. So Chris is having a go at my biggest enemy, the drop link. Just manipulating all the bits of car out of the way is difficult enough.
It's twisted as well.
Yeah.
Ah, there we go.
Will help. So ring spanner on. Let's see if we can loosen it first.
There we go. Allen key.
Yep. So 5mm. So one strut is out. As you can see, this is in a terrible state. So as usual, the job has grown arms and legs. We're probably going to need to replace the springs. We definitely need a new bump stop. The gate is actually not terrible. We've already got a new spring cap. Look at the state of that. Maybe the spring hasn't come through. And we've got new bearings for the top. You can definitely understand why the steering was a bit grumbly, because that bearing does not spin at all. So the poor power steering was working overtime. And we're going to need some new drop links for certain. And on the driver's side, we've managed to get the drive shaft out. You can see the extent of the problem, and also the bearing that sits on here
You know what?
is knackered. It would appear that the drop link is not Chris's arch nemesis, just mine. He has achieved what I would argue is almost the impossible, which is securing the centre of the ball joint in the middle while trying to do the 19mm around the outside. Good effort, Chris. It's impressive. But I screwed up the other side and cut the drop links, so we still need new drop links. Sorry.
On both sides?
If we do one, we'll do both.
Now you tell me.
Sorry, not sorry. So, result, we have got the passenger side strut out. Again, after a little bit of a fight. This drive shaft, in fact, everything on this side looks a lot better, but we're going to do the same jobs over here, so at least it's consistent left to right. So let me go show you what we've taken out. So here's the other strut. You can see it looks significantly better than the first one, but still, it all needs fixing. There's at least some movement in this top bearing, whereas this one is absolutely seized. It's no wonder the steering was struggling. But this again, it's going to need a bump stop. Gator looks okay. Spring actually doesn't look terrible, but probably do the springs as well. And I spoke too soon. We had to cut off the drop link because the bottom bolt actually came off on this one, but the top one didn't. Bloody things. Meanwhile, Chris has been looking at the HIDs. So he's got the back plate off from the headlights, which are now out. And you can see what's been done is they've bastardized the lights. So they've cut a hole in the back to put the HID bulb through. So we're going to need to look for some replacement back plates for here, so we can go back to the stock wiring. I think we actually have some spare headlights at the other workshop, which is slightly annoying. So we might just be able to pinch these bits from those headlights. Although we have, while we've been working the car, noticed we've got smashed headlight lens, so that's also an MOT issue. So it might well be that we're just going to replace both of these and go from there. Well, that's all for this episode of V70 Rescue. Check in next time as we start to rebuild the suspension. you.